Well, President Jimmy Carter is now receiving hospice care at his Georgia home following a series of hospital stays. According to a statement from his foundation, Carter has decided to spend his remaining time at home with his family instead of having additional medical intervention. The 98-year-old Carter is the longest living president in American history. The Carter Center did not provide additional details about what conditions prompted the recent hospital visits, nor Carter's decision to enter hospice care. Joining us now is NBC News correspondent Priscilla Thompson, live in Plains, Georgia, not far from the Carter's home. Priscilla, what's the latest that you're hearing?
Yeah, well, Mr. Carter is here at his home receiving that hospice care as tributes and messages of love and support are pouring in online for the former president, with people sharing photos and treasured memories that they've had with him over the years. And of course, that including President Biden, who tweeted saying that he is praying for the family, praying for former President Carter, and saying, quote, "We admire you for the strength and humility you have shown in difficult times. May you continue your journey with grace and dignity, and God grant you peace." And peace is really the mood here on the ground in Plains. We had an opportunity to go to the church where Mr. Carter was a member, where he taught Bible or teaches Bible study and taught Bible study for many decades. And we spoke to folks there, and they talked so much about how much they will love him and how much they love him, and how when the time comes, they will certainly miss him, but they are so grateful that he will no longer be in pain and that he will be going on to meet his maker. And we heard a similar message from the grandson of President Carter, who said that his grandparents are at peace, and as always, their home is so full of love right now. And that peace is also something that former President Carter has spoken about. As you mentioned, when he was in his 80s, he was diagnosed with melanoma, and that was in his liver, and it spread to his brain, and he defied the odds by defeating that cancer. But he spoke about it after the fact, saying that at the time he thought he may only have a few weeks left, and he said that he felt at ease about it, that he had lived an extraordinary life that had been exciting and adventurous, and for that he was grateful. And that has certainly been the case. While he only served one term as president, we know that he did so much in the years after he left the White House, really fighting tirelessly for peace and human rights around the world, and of course being so active with Habitat for Humanity, working on more than 4,000 homes during his time doing that. And after he left the White House, he returned to Plains, Georgia, and of course he is here now, where he intends to live out his remaining days. Back to you.
Priscilla Thompson, NBC's Priscilla Thompson, thank you very much for joining us from the Plains, Georgia, with that latest update. Eugene Daniels, the words grace, dignity, humility, we don't often associate with politicians today, but I think everybody would agree that there is a man, Jimmy Carter, who has had the clearest moral compass his whole life, and they are exactly the words you would use to think of him.
That's exactly right. There's a bipartisan love for Jimmy Carter and what he did post-presidency, right? This is a man who, when he ran for re-election, lost by a landslide. I think 489 votes Ronald Reagan beat him by. But what he was able to do and have been able to do, like Priscilla's saying, with his post-presidency is comparable and higher than most presidents have done during and after their presidencies. And I think that is something that is going to be his legacy. It's not just going to be that he was president. It's about how he worked to spread peace, how he was talked about bipartisanship and love and all of that as our politics continued to deteriorate here as he's home in Georgia.
Looking at those pictures of him, it is true that being president doesn't tend to make you humble, but in the case of Jimmy Carter, he kept that humility with him. Politico's Eugene Daniels, thank you for joining me on set this morning.
Thank you.